Hapkido tribe. I just wanted to say, hey, I have got a great workout for you today. I have heard from many of you online that you've been keeping up with your workout. You've been doing your push-ups, doing your running, doing your squats. That's awesome. Just to let you know, I have reached out to some of the schools in Australia and one of the schools in California to figure out what we can put together for you guys to keep moving during this time that you may not have a partner at home that trains Hapkido that can grab you, and you probably don't have a bounce house at home. Wait, some of you do, but most of you don't, so following will be a little bit difficult. So Sir Nathan from Queensland has put together a workout, and I thought it'd be fun if we would do his warm-up today in your workout. So how this is gonna work is it is a burpee sit-up pyramid. I know you're excited already. So you're gonna start with 10 burpees. And so one thing that Sir Nathan likes to talk about with the burpee is that when you go down, you don't have to do a push-up, but he wants your chest to be to the ground. So when you go down, you're down, and when you're up, whenever you're vertical, then you jump, right? So 10 burpees. After you do your 10 burpees, you go down on the ground. If you have a hard floor, you can put, like a towel or something down. And he likes your knees to be out. You touch behind you, and then come up and touch in front of you. Touch behind you, come up and touch in front of you. So it's gonna go 10 burpees, 10 sit-ups, then 8 burpees, 8 sit-ups, then 6 and 6, 4 and 4, 2 and 2. Once you're at 2 and 2, you're gonna go back up. So 4 and 4, then 6 and 6, then 8 and 8, and 10 and 10. So again, burpees and then sit-ups, that's the pyramid. So let me know how that goes. Post your times if you want to set a timer. I'd love to hear it, and we'll see how his students are doing because they're timing themselves too. And after you're done with that warm-up, I'll see you in a minute. Hey guys, hope the warm-up went really well. Hopefully you should be sweating just a little bit at this point. We're gonna move into some striking. Now, the goal is for you to work on your 4 highest level strikes. So if you're a blue belt, you're working on your 4 blue belt strikes. If you're an orange belt, you're working on the orange belt strikes. So you're gonna need to get your notebook out and take a look because they're all listed in your notebook. So if you have a spouse at home or a child that's willing to hold a noodle for you, you're gonna need one of those. So I'm lucky enough to have Master C to help me hold a target for me. So if he puts the noodle out, what we're looking for is static right now. So he's gonna have it straight at me. If I were a white belt, I'd be starting with my jab. And so I'm gonna do 10 jabs on my right side, and then I'll switch and do 10 on my left side, and then I'll do 10 squats. So my hands are gonna be up, my non-punching hand is gonna be up at my face. Remember, my footwork is gonna happen here, looks like that, and I'm going to punch, that was 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I'll do 10 on one side, I'll switch, do 10 on the other side, and then do 10 squats. So blue belts, you're doing your first striking technique, or green belts, you're doing your first striking technique. After you get through all of your strikes, there's 4 on each rank, 10 on each side, then I want you to do 1 rank below you. So white belts, you're just gonna do the same thing again. If you're an orange belt, you would have started at your orange belt techniques, which are elbows, and then you'll go back to the white belt techniques, right? So 10 and 10 on each side with 10 squats in between. Good luck. All right, guys, the next part of the training today is gonna utilize a partner. So I need you to get a partner. Hopefully it's not someone that's this big. You're gonna need to really nicely ask your significant other, someone that you live with, an adult, to be your training partner. So a couple of things. First of all, maybe bribe them with a treat. Second of all, a few tips for how they can grab you. A lot of times spouses will either grab too floppy, or they're like, let me see what you got, and they'll grab a little aggressively. And both of those things are not really what we want today. So like if Master C grabs me and he's trying to be super nice, so he's gonna be a little bit relaxed. And when I start my wing lock, it's like there's nothing here, and he just kind of falls over. Okay, so it's very nice of him to be compliant because he's trying to be a good partner, but that's not really helping me. On the other end of the spectrum, it's quite possibly he wants to see what I've got, right? So he grabs me, bang! And so for me to be able to do my lock, I'm like, I can't get it, and then suddenly he's feeling pretty superior, or you're like, you know what, you're getting it now, right? And bam! They're not going to play with you anymore. It's not gonna happen. So let your spouses know to, give a firm grab, but don't be too noodly, and that's a hard line, so you're gonna have to communicate with them about that, and it may be difficult if you're not used to working with your partner in this sort of a situation, but it'll be a good way for you to grow your relationship. So in just a minute, we're gonna review what you'll be working with your partner, so go get that partner, figure out what you're bribing them with to help you today, and I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, I hope that you had a good time striking. Now, the next part today, we're gonna work on some circle releases. And some of you that are a little high rank will think, circle releases. Here's the thing. I spoke with Grandmaster about what sorts of techniques you should be working on, and he had a couple pieces of information that I think are good advice. So the first one is that if I have a spouse or someone that lives in my house with me that doesn't train, a lot of Hapkido techniques hurt. If you hurt them your first day of at-home training, they won't train with you anymore. So we're gonna start easy and work our circle releases. So a couple things that GMG had to say about circle releases. For example, if Master C grabs me, with the circle releases and with all of your techniques, Grandmaster wants you to focus on your breath. So you should be breathing out during the entire motion, right? So don't hold your breath. You should on purpose breathe out as I do this technique. So if I'm circling in, for example, I'm opening my hand, my footwork and my hand motion is gonna be the same time as my breath. So I'm breathing in and out. Right? So I'm trying to make that breath happen the entire time. Grandmaster said that it might even feel a little bit like Tai Chi at first, but he said if our students get good at coordinating their breath through the entire motion and their hands and feet, they'll get smoother and faster. So I'm excited about us trying to think about that. So spouses, significant others, please grab your partner. And so there's a few ways, remind them that they need to grab for a same side wrist grab. So all the wipe out techniques, just a quick reminder, we have circling in, opening the hand, stepping, circling in. We have circling out. So I'm gonna use my other foot circling out while I'm breathing. Right? I have twist release. Remember to keep your elbow anchored to your rib cage. So when I open my hand, I step, turn, easy peasy, right? And then we have the front collar grab. So it's sometimes easier wipe outs if you put your uniform on so that they have something to grab at rather than accidentally ripping a t-shirt. Remember, strong hand on the bottom, weak hand on the top. Create a little bit of tension. Make that footwork first, and then here, remembering to end up behind them, getting the breath. We've got one from behind. My hands are up. I get a little peek. I see that he's right here. There's the elbow. This foot steps. And we've got one more, which is the choke. They may feel, your spouse or your significant other may feel uncomfortable choking you at first. Just let them know. This is what we do, right? Hands are up. Think about your footwork and your breath. So work through those techniques with your partner. The recommendation is to do 5 of the same technique on one side and then do 5 on the other side. So work that with some people at your home, and when you're done, I've got some more stuff for you. All right, so I hope the circle releases went well. Hopefully you let your partner try a few of those techniques. They're not too difficult. There's no pain in them, and they're kind of neat to be able to get out of a tight grip. So hopefully that went well. Now we're going to move into our belt level curriculum. So another thing that Grandmaster had to say about this, let's, for example, use a wing lock on orange, so armbar over technique. When Master C grabs, and we're going to go this way, when Master C grabs for this technique, I want to think about my breath the entire time, but when it's time for me to apply the lock, Grandmaster recommended not putting that part on, right? Especially if I have a partner that doesn't currently train Hapkido. So I'm going to open my hand. When it's time for me to put that last bit on, I'm not going to do it, right? I'm just going to go through all the motions until the part that the pain compliance happens. So again, your job is to not hurt your partner. Believe it or not, your pain tolerance is pretty high if you've been training Hapkido for a while, but you need a partner that's willing to grab you and work with you during this time, during the COVID-19 situation. So please think about your breath and do a fluid motion. Don't do the pain compliance part of the lock. So if you're a white belt, you're going to practice your circle releases again. If you're an orange belt, you're working armbar overs. So take a look at your sheet, you're working armbar overs. You'll need to educate your partner on how to grab you for these techniques, right? If you're a yellow belt, today I want you to work armbar unders, if you're a green belt, we're not going to throw our partner today, so you'll work on Velox. Remember, I know that you like to keep them all tight, but cool off on that pain compliance with a non-training partner. Blue belts, today we're not going to choke our partners, we're going to do their arresting technique, so your spouses or significant others just get to stand there and look pretty as you do the initial part of the grip, and then don't put the pain compliance on. So I want you guys to practice those just for a little bit, and then come on back and we've got some fun for you. All right, guys, good work on practicing. Hopefully no one has a dislocated elbow. You're all still friends in the same household while you're quarantined together. So now we have a bit of fun. I'm going to give you some variations or some things to think about for a couple different belt ranks. So we're going to start on white belt, right? So how can you apply circle releases if they don't grab you in one of the 6 prescribed ways that we practice in class? So this will be a fun time for your partner to be able to, ooh, what if this? What if this? And it may take you some time to think about it, but for example, so all of the grabs are same side that are the wrist. What if it's a crosshand grab, right? What if? Well, I think that we can circle in still. Yeah, you can still circle out. Yeah, and if you're a green belt, you're like, wait a minute, that looked a lot like something else. Or if you're an orange belt, you said, wait a minute, that looked like a lot like something else. Something to think about, right? But what if, instead of just simply cross hand or straight hand, maybe he grabbed somewhere else? Now, we have one like this, yeah? So you've got that down. There are more crazy things to think about. You could go under, right? What if he grabs like mid-sleeve, right? So I can still use my circle release to get out, yeah? So I want you to play with your partner, see if they can think of some things, and I want you to think circle release. Now, one tip, if they grab maybe like here, if there's play, if there's movement available on clothing, the tip for clothing, and you know this, is to make it taut, right? So whenever they grab the lapel, remember we grab strong hand on the bottom, weak hand on the top, and pull to make it taut so there's less play in the fabric. Anytime they tend to grab your fabric, you want to create a little bit of tension so it's a little bit easier to manipulate the joints so that they get away. Just something to think about. So think about that, play for just a couple minutes with your partner, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so since you've had a little bit of time to play on white, now we're going to talk about a variation on an armbar I want you to think about. So if you're a white belt, follow along. Orange belts and up, you'll be able to kind of figure out what's happening here. So you guys know on orange, we have a wing lock from same side, and we have a projection from cross hand. So we're going to talk about the cross hand projection. It requires a little bit of a grip change, but I think it'll be just fine. So
same side projection.
Oh, I'm so sorry, same side projection. Okay, so Master C has grabbed me, and I'm going to use my same footwork that I've used before. Here. I'm from here going to grab, and instead of doing the wing lock over, I'm just going to migrate my hand down to his tricep tendon and step here, right? So from a same side now, I'm going to come here. I'm still catching with the thumb, coming up here. So before, the wing lock was from this side, right? Now you know projection from this side, just with a quick switch of the grip. Play with that. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, guys, hope that worked out for you. So now we're gonna hop up to yellow belt, and we're gonna talk about S-lock, a variation on S. So you guys have been taught lots of S-locks. You know the same side one, right? Remember that one? So, but there isn't a crosshand S-lock in the curriculum. So we're gonna talk about that today. So Master C grabs me on the cross hand. I'm gonna take my footwork that looks a lot like a white belt technique, but my hand is gonna cover. So when I come up, I'm gonna cover, and my other hand, do you see how it's turning? And I'm using a grip right here below his wrist, right? You've done this motion for armbar, so it's coming up here. So there's a couple things that's gonna happen. I'm gonna rotate this, so I'm kind of going like this, vroom, vroom. At the same time, my hand trapping his is keeping the angle here. So this is bent, there's the S. So one more time, I'm coming up, I'm trapping, stepping back. It comes on strong, so be nice. Here, breathe. Right, and they'll say that doesn't hurt, and that's okay. Again, we want your partner to come back and play with you later, so be nice. Try that out, see how it goes for you. All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about a variation on Velox. This might get a little bit difficult to see, so you have to bear with us as we change angles here. But on Velox, there's no collar grab, right? So we're going to talk about one. Okay, so he's roughing me up. Be nice. He's roughing me up. My hands are going to come up, and I'm going to grab over the top on the thumbstick, right? So the position is going to be like the position you're used to on many. You're going to need to utilize the footwork at the same time. So I'm coming this way, and if we rotate, first of all, you'll see that I'm grabbing the thumbstick, and my thumb is on the opposite side of their hand so I can control their hand. Now, once I tucked back and used my shoulder, my other hand came up. Now, he's bound into my uniform pretty well, but I'm just going to push it anyway, right? Doesn't matter if he's in there or not. If I take him out, if I extricate him from the situation, this is the position it looks like. That's, you know that V-lock already, right? You've been in that position from the rear shoulder and from being in the front. So one more time, he's here. My hands are up. I'm gonna grab the thumbstick, tuck my elbow down, rotate, and then I'll push with this. And you'll see that there's two ways we can do it. We can work it into a throw, or if he grabs, when I come this way, I can push in like we traditionally do on the same side in cross hand V-lock. So be nice to your partner, try that, hope it goes well. All right, guys, so blue belts, I haven't forgotten you. We're gonna work a variation that's not in the arresting curriculum. It'll be fun. So Master C is just gonna stand there and look pretty. And for this one, the grip is going to be, I'm grabbing on the pinky side, right? And my thumb is down, so not up, but down, pinky side. So I'm gonna step on the line and to the line, you guys know that. And we're gonna end up in an S-lock. So I'm gonna step, pull it down, bring it up, S. Now let's rotate just for a second, right? So I'm not gonna be all the way here. As you kind of imagine, I need to have this bend in the arm to be able to put the lock on. So if we start from this position, I'll step to it, I'm pulling down. He may or may not pull back in reaction to what I do. That allows me to come up and put the S on. This is a fiery one. Oftentimes when we do techniques from the arresting, we like to be here so that they can't hit us with that hand either this way or behind. But once you put the heat on that lock, which you're not going to do with your spouse, right? You're not going to be worried about getting hit with that hand, right? So blue belts, try that. Please be nice to your partner, and hopefully that goes well. All right, guys, to finish out your workout for the day, we're gonna take advantage of Sir Nathan's challenge to us as well. And this is gonna be a 5-minute plank challenge. Now, is it possible that you can't hold a plank for 5 minutes? Yes, it is possible. So here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get down on the ground and hold the plank. As you guys know, I'm gonna do it sideways. You guys know what a plank is. You wanna keep your hips down, right? You wanna hold it for 5 seconds. So 5 minutes, set your timer. If for whatever reason you need to like tense up or you need to hit the deck, have your knees drop, that's fine. Keep that rolling. Flip over, 5 sit-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back to that plank. So you're hoping that you don't have to do any sit-ups for the whole 5 minutes. But if you do, right, that's the penalty for having to like drop and relax. 5 sit-ups and then back into it. Let me know how many times you needed to break for those 5 sit-ups during the 5-minute plank. Have fun with it, guys. I'll see you next time.